Alright, so today's video is going to be about interviews. It's still June, but interviews are coming up. First, I want to give a quick shout out to a mentor of mine who's helped me a lot, Dr. Jonathan Wagner. He is actually going to help me with some of the ideas I have for my next video, which is going to be about loans and paying back your loans. Thank you so much for that. In this video, I'll be talking about how I packed and how I traveled to my interviews and where I interviewed specifically. Also, what my interview process was like and how I prepared for the interview. Okay, so let's get started. So the first one is how I packed and traveled. I mostly traveled just with a backpack and like a handbag, but when I traveled to the further interviews, for example, New York, I did bring a carry-on, but I never checked in a bag just in case my interview clothes didn't make it to my interview. So I packed my shirt, my pants, my blazer. I packed each of them into a plastic Ziploc bag just so they can fit into my backpack. So I packed it in, I took the air out, and I packed it into my backpack. I also brought these shoes at a separate interview where it was a little bit warmer. I brought these little heels. At the interviews, you will be walking a lot, so I recommend wearing comfortable shoes. At most of my interviews, it was pretty cold, so I did wear these shoes, and I wore socks with them so I'd stay a little bit warmer. I also did bring a coat for the interview that I had in New York because it was chilly, and I also brought a scarf. And besides the outfits, I wore a watch. I wore this watch. You want to have your phone off pretty much the entire time because you don't want it to go off and you don't want to be checking your phone to look at the time. So definitely bring a watch. And to carry my phone, my wallet, I brought a black purse that matched my outfit. And I also brought a black portfolio which contains slots for cards, paper, and a spot for your pen. You definitely want to take notes, but if you don't have a portfolio, you can just bring a notebook. I think it's fine as long as it's black and a little bit and professional. But when you do get there, all the schools will give you like a folder with the information like about the interview, like what you'll be doing that day. And most of the time they will give you a notepad and a pen, but bring a pen just in case. I think one of my interviews didn't give me a pen, but luckily I had a pen. Purse. For earrings, I actually wore these earrings, which they're like swan earrings. They weren't completely like too professional. I was planning on getting pearl earrings or diamond earrings, but I think I just like ran out of money and time. But if I were to go to a different interview, I probably would have worn something like this. I think I got these at Target. They're not real diamonds. And for a necklace, I actually just wore this necklace, which isn't like a pearl necklace or just like a diamond necklace or anything like that you would usually see people wear, but this did fine as well. It was just a simple necklace. For my hair, every morning I curled it, so I also brought a curling iron with me, bobby pins, and hair ties. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the places that I interviewed. I'm hoping that if I give you the places that I interviewed at, you guys can actually ask me specific questions and I could be more helpful to you guys. So the first place I interviewed at was Rosman University in Utah. So I'm looking at my computer just because I wrote down the notes on how I got there and what I did for travel. So I flew into Salt Lake City and I took an Uber to my friend's house and I stayed at my friend's house that night before the interview, which was super helpful. So if you have any friends that are currently students at the place you're going to interview at, definitely ask them if you can stay with them because it would save you a lot of money and it's really nice to talk to them the day before just to kind of get your nerves down and know what you're getting yourself into. The next day after the interview, I took an Uber back to the airport and flew back home. So about flying, I've already mentioned this in a different video, but the way I paid for my flights was by using travel points. So I have the Southwest Rapid Rewards card, and this video is totally not sponsored, but I got this card specifically for the points. So after paying for all of my applications on the Southwest credit card, it paid for me to travel to Utah, to San Francisco, to LA, to New York, and to Las Vegas, Nevada. It covered all those flights. My next interview was at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I took an Uber to get there, and I stayed at an Airbnb. My next interview was at UCSF. So I flew from San Diego to San Francisco International Airport, and I stayed with a student as well that was going to school there through this program called Dent Stay. So if you're interviewing at UCSF, look into this program. After San Francisco, I flew back to LA because the next day I had an interview at Western University. I am from LA, and my parents picked me up from the airport and drove me to the interview, which is very, very nice, and I felt very, very lucky. I flew into LAX, which is about a little over an hour away from Western University, but if you're going to be interviewing there, I recommend flying into Ontario Airport because it's only a 20-minute drive. Then after Western University, I had my interview at Toro. I had the most trouble traveling to Toro because, first of all, it's in New York. I've never been to New York. It was kind of far from the airport, and New York is just expensive. So I was really lucky, and I became friends with the person sitting next to me on the airplane, and they offered to give me an Uber ride to Grand Central Terminal, and because they were going the same way. So I Ubered to Grand Central Terminal, and I took a train from Grand Central Terminal to North White Plains, and that's a little bit closer to where the dental school is. So it was actually not a bad train ride. The Grand Central Terminal is beautiful. I think it was about a $10 ticket. So I bought my ticket there. I took the train. Once I arrived at the train station at North White Plains, I called an Uber and Ubered to my Airbnb. When I woke up the day of the interview from my Airbnb, I packed everything and took everything with me to my interview. When you get to your interviews, there'll be a place for you to drop off your luggage, so don't worry about wondering where to put all your things. There'll be someone who takes your luggage and sets it aside. And the last school I interviewed at was Herman Ostrow School of Dentistry of USC, which is the school I'll be attending. So if you're going to interview here, please send me an email, let me know, because I'm opening my place up for people who are going to be interviewing. This offer is only open for females because you will be staying in my room since I have a small apartment and it's a shared 1-bedroom apartment. I'll be posting like a description of the places I interviewed at and how I traveled there in the description box below. Okay, so what my interview process was like. Let's see, I was very nervous in the beginning, but once you get there, it's mostly just excitement because everyone is there for the same reason. Everyone wants to go to dental school, and this is like one of the last steps of getting into a school. So it's really exciting. You just want to be yourself because that's the only thing that sets you apart from other people. Your experiences and just like your personality. So be yourself, have fun, make friends, and definitely, of course, come prepared. So now talking about how I prepared for the interview. So I think I took about a month to prepare for the interview. I mostly just wrote down questions that I found on the internet on this like notebook app called Evernote. So I just wrote down questions like, why do you want to be a dentist? Or tell me about yourself. Or why do you want to go to this school? Stuff like that. So I wrote down a bunch of questions. I would answer all those questions, and I would try to come up with a concise answer just so I can have ideas of what to say. So then after I had concise answers for all the questions, I would practice them. So I would ask a friend to ask me the questions on that notebook list. I would also practice in front of a mirror and sometimes on my phone, like I would videotape myself. So I think that's about it. If you have any questions, you can email me or send me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.